It's time to talk about this. Hi again, Caribbeanologists. I'm here back with another topic again, another subject. And this is one that I have been anguishing over for a while now because I don't think I can be articulate enough in terms of explaining this all. But I'm going to try my best to see what I can do. And the reason why this subject is a little difficult for me to speak about, it's because I am kind of caught in the middle, and I have my different opinions about the topic. And it's probably not going to be popular for a lot of people. Some people will be able to relate, and other people won't. But in light of a few things that I've seen of late, it has caused me to confront this topic, and I'm going to present it here. And I would like if you guys get down into the comment section and discuss this with me. Let me just get straight to the point, or straight to what the topic is going to be about. The reason why this subject is a little controversial to me, it's because I am a child of immigrants myself. And anyone who knows me knows that I do not like Donald Trump. But before I even get to him, I have been the type of person, because I am a child of immigrants, that I have always been conscientious of the fact of who I am, where I come from. And because of this, as a student of history, I've always been careful about jumping on the bandwagon to bash immigrants or to speak bad of them. You know, you will hear people saying, oh, these people coming over here and they're doing this and they're doing that. And they may be right in what they're saying about some of the people from those immigrant groups, but usually if one or two immigrants are doing something, then they're painted with a broad brush. And no better example than what I saw today, as a matter of fact. I'm going to get back to the crux of my topic, but just to explain what I mean for what I just said. My wife and I just came from a walk, and as we're walking, coming down the street, there's an area up the street up here, a small little park, and in that park, there are about 4 or 5 guys. I don't know where they're from, but their features suggest that they're somewhere from Central America. They may be Mexicans, they may be Ecuadorians, they may be Peruvians. They do have those Mesoamerican features. And every time you see them, they're drunk. They have cans of beer in front of them. They're usually begging people money. They will say it's for water, but you look around and that they're having another beer. They're always drunk, always passed out on the benches in there. Now, you see that, and some people would look at that and paintbrush the entire group of people that look like them. Meanwhile, down the street, it's not happening right now because of COVID-19, but down the street, you see a lot of the very same people playing soccer. They're out there with their families. I watch them on Fridays as they come down the train station, the stairs, and they go right to Western Union, hard-earned money. You see the paint all over their bodies. You see them with all the construction dust all over them. They work hard. They're doing what they're doing. I see far more of them than the 4 or 5 that I see up there. But there's some people who pay attention to that 4 and paintbrush the entire group of the thousands of others who don't engage in that kind of a lifestyle. Anyway, getting back to what I was talking about. I am a child of immigrants, like I said. My father is from the island of St. Kitts. My mother is from the island of Nevis, though I was born on American soil in the United States Virgin Islands. When they came to the Virgin Islands, it was at the height of, or I should say, the emergence of the tourism industry in the Virgin Islands, specifically St. Thomas, which is where they settled. Now, while my mother, I haven't really spoken to my father about this, but while my mother did not exactly encounter a lot of horror stories, she did tell me about other individuals in the group of people that came up with her from those other islands to the U.S. Virgin Islands. They did encounter some persecution. They did encounter some backlash. They did encounter some jeering. They did encounter some slurs being hurled at them. And this is one of the reasons why, again, I just do not get into piling on immigrants, because I have to remember that my parents were immigrants. And when they came in, their group, the people that came in with them, heard local Virgin Islanders. Again, I was born in the Virgin Islands, but local Virgin Islanders who are American citizens telling them, go back where you come from. Nobody wants you here. They call them thieves. There's a term that they call the Antiguans who came in. They call them Garrets. That word has some kind of connotation, or it's pejorative. As far as I understand, the way that Virgin Islanders used it. So they looked at these people with suspicion. Like, what are they coming in here for? They're taking all of our jobs. They're taking our women. They're taking our men. This was the complaint that was going on back then. And when you look at history and you look at how certain groups have been persecuted, the same arguments are generally used. Oh, they're coming in to take our jobs. They're coming in to do this. They're basically polluting our bloodline. They are taking over. They're doing this, they're doing that. Almost every genocide that you can think of, or campaigns to wipe out another group of people, starts out with some kind of reasoning where those people over there who are coming in are like a threat to us. And we've got to stop this threat. We've got to wipe out the threat. The Holocaust is one example. The Rwandan genocide is another similar situation. That group over there, they're threatening. That group over there is trying to wipe us out. That group over there is trying to purge us out. And they're coming in and taking over. Nigeria, the Biafra War, similar type of situation that happened there, where you had the northern Nigerians who looked at the Igbos, who were from southeastern Nigeria, coming into their region, getting all the nice jobs and doing certain things, and you start thinking they're coming to take over. Look at them with suspicion, and if push comes to shove, let's pick up arms and wipe them out. That has always scared me, because I live in a country where I'm a black man, and we know what has been going on recently. And there are white people around here, all around us. Even though I live in a liberal city, there are white people around us who would not be sad if I died, or if I disappeared, or if I moved out of the area and I'm no longer around to pose in their mind, a threat to them. So you do have people like that who think those type of things. So again, I don't jump on the bandwagon thinking this or thinking that, because for some reason I could end up being an immigrant in someone else's country. For reasons I may have to leave here, I may have to go somewhere. And when I go in, those people can look at me with some kind of suspicion. So I could be over here running my mouth about the Mexicans and the Haitians and the Jamaicans. I could be over here running my mouth about that right now and end up being an immigrant in someone else's country and feeling what it feels like. I know what that feels like. On the other side, on the flip side of this, I can understand the angst that certain people will have. And here is what I mean. And I'm going to get to what I'm talking about in terms of how it relates to me. But before I do that, let me get to this. I was just watching a video a minute ago that Wode, a person I follow, he's a fellow from out of Africa, from out of Ghana to be specific. And he posted a video where a person in Zambia, a black man in Zambia, a person born in Zambia, was going into a store with his Asian, I think Chinese, wife. And they go into a Chinese-owned store in Zambia. And when they go into the store, the proprietor says, we don't want any foreigners in here. So the black man, the black Zambian, didn't exactly know what the woman said, because she said it in her language. So he turned to his wife and asked her, like, what did she say? And the woman said she doesn't want any foreigners in here. And he was a little confused, because he's like, well, you're Chinese. The woman behind the counter is Chinese. She doesn't want you here? That sounds kind of weird. And his wife said, no, she's not talking about me. She's talking about you. The man is a Zambian in his country. And here's this Chinese proprietor basically saying, we don't want foreigners in our store. Instantly, it made news, because the man is being called a foreigner in his own country. Okay, now that I put that out there, let's get over to the side of the world that I'm from. Again, I'm from the Virgin Islands. And I cannot speak for for the people back home per se, because I don't live there right now. I can only follow bits and pieces of what's going on. So I may say some things that are incorrect right now, or I may not have all my facts. But one of the things that's going on in one of our Virgin Islands, I'm from St. Thomas, but next door, 5 miles over, is an island known as St. John, also part of the United States Virgin Islands. And what is happening there right now, there is this somewhat of a takeover that is going on over there. The local population are noticing that you have a bunch of white people who are moving in, and slowly but surely they're grabbing, taking a bit of this, taking a bit of that, and making the local population feel like they are the second class citizens on their island. Now, here's how this goes from how I pretty much sort of understand it. We've always had immigrants come into our islands. We've always had white people come into our islands. They've always been there. And there's always been some tensions, because when I was growing up, I remember, you thought of white people and so forth, but the white people were more like, they were just there. They just sort of just blended in with the fabric, you know? You never really thought much of it. You never really heard too much rumblings. It was like people kind of watched them, But again, one of the things about the Virgin Islands, we've never been in awe of white people. So it wasn't like, oh my God, white people. Yeah, we saw them, they were there and whatever. It wasn't too much of a big deal per se, at least not in St. Thomas. St. Croix now in the U.S. Virgin Islands, there was some other issues that culminated in actually some murders over there that made headline news around the world. But on St. John, there has been a new influx of white folks who've been coming to our islands. And some people can trace it back to the country singer Kenny Chesney, who discovered St. John, and I think also the British Virgin Islands. And he started to give off this impression about our islands as a place where you, my fans, can come on down, stick your feet in the sand, enjoy a margarita, and enjoy yourself. Well, these people started taking up on this offer and started coming down to St. John. They found out that it was a U.S. island. And because it's a U.S. island, it's not like other places where when they go, there are certain limitations that they have. Because these are U.S. territories, they can take their money down there. They can buy land. They don't have to go through anything, basically. They would have as much power as me, as a U.S. Virgin Islander, to come in and do whatever they want to do. They can land today, buy a house, set up shop, and do whatever they want to do, because these things are on the U.S. federal government. So as they started coming down, what they started doing were basically building their enclaves, like areas where they live, building big homes and coming in, and the taxes on the homes just started going up, where the local population could not afford to pay these things anymore. So local people now start to feel a certain amount of pressure and can't compete with these people with all this money. So the next thing you know, they have to either sell their land, give up where they live, and then other white folks come in and just take up this land and just build and build. So now what has happened, there's been so many that has come in that they now have that pull, that power, that influence. They have that money that can make things happen. And what is happening is a shift that is going on where the local population are being phased out in terms of a say, in terms of power, in terms of just having a say on anything that's going on there, whereby these people with money, they are moving in and just taking over. So there is a threat, and the local population, they're feeling this threat. So when you go now to St. John, or you go to certain Facebook pages, you find the local population crying out and basically looking at this like modern day colonization all over again. And it's creating some problems. It's creating tension down there right now. So now both groups are looking at each other with suspicion. Now, in between all of this, you do have some white folks who have been there for years before that. They have children, they have grandchildren, they've assimilated, they've acclimated. Some of them were even born on St. John. They're somewhat in the middle because they're white, but they don't agree with this new group of white folks that are coming in, the way that they're carrying about. So they basically, because they're St. Johnians themselves, they're from St. John. So despite their color, they identify with the local population, and they have a problem with this new group of people that are coming in. So in a case like that, you would say, oh, these are immigrants that are coming in, or these are new people that are coming to the island. And because I'm an immigrant, I should be aware of what they're doing and I should be empathetic to what they're going through and so forth. In this case is a little bit different because what you generally have when you have immigrants coming to a country, you have those who are poor and they're coming to look for a better life. They're just coming in to make a dollar. They're just trying to just do the best they can just to survive. And sometimes people don't like their culture or what they're bringing in and don't like them. But for the most part, these people are just trying to make a living and just minding their own business. But then you have the other groups of people who come in, who have the money, who have the influence, who can manipulate things because they have that money and that power. And that is what is going on down in the Virgin Islands right now. And not to mention, we have our leaders. But there's something different about the U.S. Virgin Islands compared to other islands in the Caribbean, independent islands that is, and a place like Zambia. Because we are not an independent entity and we're under the U.S. flag and we're under the U.S. federal laws, there's only but so much we can say. Yes, we have a certain amount of autonomy, we have a governor and so forth, but federal law trumps all of our local laws. So our governor cannot get up and say, hey, you know what? No, we're not going to have Bob from Wisconsin or Sam from Idaho come down and just buy up land just like that or build a house just like that. Bob has to do this and that in order for him to be able to do what he's doing. Nearby in the British Virgin Islands, just right next door to us, the British Virgin Islands, they're under the British flag, but they have different rules over there. Different rules have been set. Don't know how they managed to do it, but it's one of those kind of things like if you're a British person, just because these British Virgin Islands are part of your kingdom, so to speak, you cannot just go down there and just set up shop and buy land and start living there. If I'm not mistaken, I think you have to live on the island or the islands in the British Virgin Islands, and I think you have to be there for 20 years or 10 years and contribute to the local economy. And you have to put your work in before you get to a point to where you can say you can buy this and you can buy that there. In the U.S. Virgin Islands, that is not the case. Bob can fly in from Wisconsin yesterday, land today, walk into a bank, and go buy a house. Now, again, these people have that kind of money. The local population, they're not making much money. People are struggling every day. So they don't have the money to buy these swaths of land and buy these big mansions and buy up huge acreages. They don't have that kind of buying power down there. So as a result, you go to St. John, or you go to Eastern St. Thomas, where I'm from, or you go to Eastern St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands also. All these are U.S. Virgin Islands. And you have whole communities with just white folks living in big houses. Now, I am not saying all of them are bad and have bad intentions. I'm not saying that all of them are in on this, but they've created their own little community. And I guess they realize that the local population are looking at them like, we're watching you, we're watching you. And because they feel the suspicious eyes looking at them, they then turn around and look back at that group over there with suspicion. So instantly, there's a certain level of tension being built up there. Now, getting back to the Zambia situation, and my wife being from Guyana, Zambia right now is being, let me not use the word invaded, but the Chinese presence is very strong there. You go around, you see Chinese signs all over the place. My wife is from Guyana and a similar thing happens down there. One thing that was pointed out about the Zambia situation is that in Zambia there's a Bank of China. So when this money comes in, that money is not staying, which is a complaint that my wife made just the other day. That money is not staying in Zambia and circulating in Zambia and enriching the country there. That money is being made there and it's going to China and basically helping their economy in that country. Zambia, it's not happening. When it comes to the U.S. Virgin Islands, I'm not saying that's exactly what's going on because, of course, it's still the same U.S. dollar. But the thing about it is that the folks are coming down. These groups, these Kenny Chesney groups are coming down. And just to give you an example, and I guess this is a highlight or a microcosm of what I'm talking about. Someone mentioned the other day that there was HGTV. Let me see how much time I have left on this. Okay, yeah, HGTV. They were down there And it's one of these things where they're always down in the Caribbean, especially the Virgin Islands. You have white folks coming down and they're looking for a house to buy. And they come down to paradise, our U.S. Virgin Islands. They came down. And during the whole 1 hour episode, somehow at no point did they show anybody of the local population. They showed, I guess they did the usual where they went to certain bars and clubs populated by white folks. I guess they showed white folks prancing around the beach and everything. So if you are a person not familiar with St. John or not familiar with our environment down there, and you're living in Russia, you're living in Timbuktu, you're living in Maputo, Mozambique, and you look over, you're going to think, wow, St. John, it's a white island. It's a bunch of white people down there, Guess it's an island where white people live. The black population that is there, the local native black population that is there, they were basically not filmed. So that's the impression you get. So these people are giving, I'm going to say these people again, I'm not talking about all the white folks there, but they're giving the impression that St. John is a place you can come because there are a lot of us here like you. You can come down here and hang out with us. And that is the impression that is being given over there. And that is problematic. That is problematic. It may not seem like much at the moment, but these people who actually live there on St. John can tell you what they're seeing day by day, year by year, decade by decade. There are people that are old enough, white folks and black folks, who are St. Johnians, who can tell you what it used to be like and what they're seeing right now, for them to feel like it's a threat to their livelihood and a threat to their existence over there. I don't mean physical existence per se, but it's getting to a point where it's like, hey, look, we got to pack up our bags and get out of here because we can't afford this place anymore. They can, we can't. So once all these people decide to migrate, leave, move to Atlanta, move to New York, move to Miami, leaving all of this back there for them, and before you know it, you have a complete transformation of a place that was basically black dominated. I've always said this, that when we leave, when we're forced out, when we migrate for one reason or the other and we move to another location, who is home to guard the gates? There's going to be none of us. And before you know it, you have an entirely different group of people down there. Now, years ago, I used to go and visit certain travel groups. And I used to always be excited to just go and see what these visitors are saying about the Virgin Islands. And when I would look, there was always one or two people in there. You could hear the sense of entitlement coming through. Oh, I went down to the Virgin Islands and the people are so rude to me. They didn't this, they didn't that, they didn't this. Now, we don't have the greatest customer service in the world. I understand that. But you can almost hear a sense of entitlement, like, wow, they didn't bow down and worship me. They didn't move out of my way when I was walking by. They didn't roll out the red carpet for me. Oh my God, these people are just so bad. You could hear the sense of entitlement. And this is what happened in St. Croix back in the late 60s, early 70s, a similar type of thing. When they opened up a refinery over there, the Hess refinery on St. Croix, you had white people who were from the United States, with their racist attitudes from the southern part of the United States, came to a predominantly black island with those racist attitudes and tried to basically take over, to the point where there were certain people who couldn't take that anymore, and unfortunately led to bloodshed. Something that still affects St. Croix to this very day. So again, when I hear how these things go on, and speaking about immigrants, getting back today again, why I said I'm a little conflicted about this, because while my parents were immigrants, I do realize in a place like St. Thomas, here you have an island, local population. The majority of people there are probably people from the Virgin Islands itself. You know, you're from the Virgin Islands, your mother and father from the Virgin Islands, or maybe a nearby island, and your great-grandparents are probably from the Virgin Islands. Overnight, St. Thomas, for example, went from an island with 20,000 people to an island with 50,000 people, and a bunch of people coming from different Caribbean islands and a bunch of white people coming in from other places. I could understand the shock into the system of the local population. Like, my goodness, where did all these people come from? Then you had all this pressure placed on the school system, all the pressure placed on the electrical system because of this huge influx of people just coming in practically overnight. So I can understand the angst that they would feel, and they would look on and like, wow, look at all these people coming in and taking over. And this is probably what spilled over when they saw people like my parents coming in. And they were like, look at these people coming in, taking over our jobs. They're doing this, they're doing that, and whatever. And there's always going to be that culture clash, things that maybe other people did in their cultures that they come into your culture with, and you're not accustomed to it, they're not accustomed to yours, and you have all those things that go on, and there's always that period of adjustment. Then what generally happens is the people who were once persecuted, who usually went through that, now that they have made it in a certain level of society, whenever new immigrants come in, they now start persecuting a new group. So it has always been problematic for me with these type of things, how immigrants act and how the once immigrants who are now established in their new country have children and gone on 3-4 generations. Now their children now are the new persecutors of the new immigrants who are coming in. So again, this has always been problematic to me. I try to be very careful because I do not want to jump on the bandwagon of bashing immigrants. But I also do understand sometimes the local population, how they may feel about certain things. Then I also do understand, like I mentioned, the Chinese, they have this. The white folks that are coming into the Virgin Islands, they have this. Lots of them. I'm not saying all of them, mind you, but lots of them are coming in with this, and this talks. And when they come in, it's a different type of movements that they operate with because they have money, they have prestige, they have power, compared to a poor Haitian or a poor Dominican or a poor Mexican coming into your country, starting from the bottom, just trying to make a buck, working in menial jobs. These people don't have that. They can just come in, drop bags of money in a government desk and say, hey, listen, see all this money right here? Make this happen for me, and this could be all yours. These type of things can be problematic, like I mentioned. So when I think about this, it's rather disturbing, but it's something that we really have to keep an eye on. I hear my brothers and sisters in St. John. I hear my brothers and sisters in St. Croix. St. Thomas, I don't really hear about it that much. I guess because we've always been that cosmopolitan place, and we've always been the one who've seen white people come and go, and it's nothing to us. But in a place like St. John, which is much smaller than St. Thomas, there's not much land to go around. And right now that land seems to be taken up by a new influx of immigrants coming to our islands. And a lot of them happen to be white. And I'm going to say this much also. Kenny Chesney's a country singer. That means he attracts a lot of country fans. I'm not saying all of them, mind you, but you have to understand a lot of these country fans and a lot of people who listen to country music, not everyone, mind you, but a lot of them who do listen to this type of stuff, not exactly fans of black folks. A lot of them are probably Trump supporters, probably not friends of black folks. So when they come down, they may smile, they may look a certain way or whatever. But the fear is, once they get that foot in, they will probably want to take the entire yard. Some people are cognizant of this. Some people are aware of this and are watching them and are basically holding their fire to the feet that this does not happen. But how much power do we have other than going on Facebook and writing out statuses? Our government really can't do, our local government really can't do anything about it. So yes, it's a big concern. So you see going on in Africa with the Chinese. My wife sees it going on in Guyana, in her country, with the Chinese. We see it in the U.S. Virgin Islands with this new group of white folks that are coming in. So it's rather disturbing in different places, and I could understand where people may feel they have to lash out sometimes, and sometimes these things lead to a certain level of violence, and I hope it does not get to this point. I don't want to see anyone dying because of these type of things. But as Wode said in one of his videos, when you come in, you should respect the culture, and you should respect the local people, and understand where you are and that you're in their country, not the other way around. Because, as he pointed out, Zambians can't go to China and do the things that the Chinese are doing down in Zambia. We know that very clearly because we've seen what Chinese, in some places, have done to Africans living over there. That double standard should not be working out like that. But the local people also have a responsibility to make sure that they preserve their culture, that they teach their children their culture, that they pass this culture on, that these kids can feel proud of where they come from and stand up for their culture and for their places of birth. Anyway, there's a lot more I probably had to say, but I'm going to leave it at this point right now. Thank you so much for viewing this video. If you have thoughts and comments, please go down into the comment section, and I would love to hear from you so we can discuss this. Also, remember, if this video you thought it was interesting, please click the like button, and please, most importantly, share it and subscribe. Okay? There'll be more videos like this. I may have some more thoughts about this. There may be a part 2, but for right now, this was done completely unscripted, and I probably did leave out a whole lot of things, but I'm sure you guys have some thoughts, or you guys can point out some things that I've forgotten or overlooked. Thank you so much for tuning in, Caribbeanologists. I really, really appreciate it, okay? You guys take care until the next video.